tell me more about herself. She died in a car accident at the age of 42, 3 years younger than I am now. It's an empty, helpless feeling to have so many questions for my mother and know that they will never be answered. The finality of mortality and the fact that you can never go back and get your questions answered directly has often frustrated me and left me feeling helpless.
Welcome back to The Talk. That was an excerpt from the audiobook edition of From This Moment On, read by our guest, Shania Twain. Shania, you were only 22 years old when your mom and stepdad died in a car crash. What questions do you still have today for her that you wish you could get answered?
It was a long time ago. I'm 45 now, so imagine all these empty years, parentless. So I say empty, you know, without parents. And so, you know, there was my wedding, there was my pregnancy, the birth of my son, all the success in my life, the Grammys, you know, meeting Dolly Parton. You know, there were all kinds of fantastic experiences that I enjoyed without her, and without my dad. So it was difficult. It was a bittersweet experience all the way, and I always thought of them. I consider those, all of the fantastic and beautiful moments in my life are triggers of thinking of my mother and what she would have thought, and so there's that. And then there's also questions about her, and more about her childhood, and how she ended up where she did, and how she felt about the trials in her own life. So there's a whole lack of information, advice that you get from your mother, that you go to your mother for. I don't know, recipes, you know, just things.
Advice when you have your first child.
Advice, yeah, beautiful things like that. So, you know, I don't know. Those are blanks in my life and have been ever since. And so, you know, I don't want Asia to. I mean, you know, look, if I die tomorrow, my son will have that anyway, but he will at least have an account of as much of a complete picture of my life that I can paint for him in words. And words is, you know, I express myself much better that way than I do speaking. So I hope, you know, and I wrote 3 times the volume of what's in the book. In the initial draft of my story, and they had to edit down, but you know, Asia will have the whole, you know, big long story.
Your husband, Mark Lang, your first husband, what was it about him that you fell for?
You know, I think there was just a connection. He's a very kind person. He's very warm and kind, and
very private person.
He's very private, and I'm very private. We had a great mutual respect for each other in that regard, and also musically. So we connected over a lot of different things, to be honest.
In your book, at one point you said that you and your husband were growing distant. Was there anybody that you talked to about that at the time?
I never told anybody about that except for Marianne. I only had one friend in person that I saw regularly. I've got other friends in my life, but they're always distant.
Because weren't you in Switzerland?
Yeah, living in Switzerland. And so, you know, the other friends I've had for many years in my life, I see periodically when I travel and when I work and so on. But the only friend that I had with me, in, you know, at home, was Marianne, and I did start confiding in her about it.
Just to bring people up to speed, I mean, your personal life played out in the tabloids. Marianne is now married to your ex-husband.
They're not married.
Oh, they're not?
No.
They are together, though.
And, you know, I don't even know, and I kind of feel good saying that, because it's just, at one point, it just stopped mattering. So I couldn't even answer that. It's like, I don't even know. It's not my business anymore, so I don't even know if they're still together.
But you were told at one point that they were in a relationship. To this day, your ex-husband and Marianne deny that there was an affair. But tell us what happened when you were told that the two were involved.
Well, it felt a bit like a death when I was made aware that they were having an affair, kind of a death of trust and a death of dreams and a death of love. And I just went into instant shock and denial and the regular grieving process. So I didn't believe it, basically.
Who told you?
Fred told me, who was her husband at the time. And he knew for a few weeks before he told
He
me.
actually told you.
He told me. Well, he waited. He waited as long as he felt he could. So so that I didn't keep walking around like a little idiot, being the only one who didn't know.
The good news is you did allow yourself to fall in love again. You're married to Fred. When you said Fred, that's your husband. Was it hard to take that leap of faith? How did you take that leap of faith?
I basically just made it very clear to Fred that I was not interested in love again. I would never love again. I'm not interested in marriage. I don't believe in it anymore. People aren't meant to be together forever. I really didn't leave myself open to that. And because of that, focused really just on the friendship and started really climbing back up out of it together, leaning on each other, and really him being the only other person in the world that understood.
Yeah, because he was hurting too. He'd been betrayed.
The same exact scenario, so...
Allegedly, we just want to say because...
You can
yeah.
say allegedly.
Allegedly.
I can say for sure. I'm allowed to say that.
You have a series on OWN. Now tell me about the series. Did you enjoy it? Because I know how private you are, opening yourself up to the cameras and the world.
The reason behind it was purposely to do that. To say, look, take yourself out of your comfort zone. There's a bottleneck happening here. You've been keeping everything in too long. I had never even shared my own private life, my personal feelings and emotions and expression with even, people I've known my whole life. To an extreme that it was very detrimental, and it was really starting to manifest itself. Well, it has manifested itself, and literally squashed my voice.
You think you were stuffing everything and you just couldn't.
I was
You were
absolutely
full of emotion. It just nothing
That couldn't
worked
come
like
out.
it used to.
No,
Yeah.
but that's been an accumulation over years from my childhood, from the very beginning. Now, the straw that broke the camel's back was the separation and the betrayal. It was the wake-up call to say, wow, things have bottlenecked and something's got to give. What are you going to do about it? So I was proactive about it. And it was my version of therapy, sort of because I'm kind of, I've always been avoided therapy, the official, I'm okay, I can do this by myself.
I'm tough.
That was my attitude, so.
This is an excellent, excellent read. Shania Twain, the book again is called From This Moment On. And don't forget, you can see Why Not with Shania Twain Sunday nights on OWN. And we're going to give this to everyone in the audience. So, Shania Twain, everyone. Thank you, Shania. We'll be right back.